Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies, and direction that strives to promote a better economy for the country. Issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program over our Facebook page and YouTube channel. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service, and you can hear this broadcast on our audio streaming via PBS Evox PBS receiver app. Also on our shortwave broadcast through following frequencies. That's 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 megahertz. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
All right, let's begin the program on the topics, particularly on the United States-Philippines diplomatic relations, as this year we observe 80th anniversary of the formal diplomatic relations between the United States and the Philippines, as the celebration will be observed on July 4th. That's in 1946, and that's the time when we get our independence from the United States. But first, we will discuss here on the invitation of the United States President Donald Trump, as Trump extended invitation for the Philippines to participate in the proposed Board of Peace. And the Philippines approaches this invitation with openness and responsibility as a member of the community of nations. So we have tried to reach out to the Philippine Embassy in Washington to have a conversation with Ambassador Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez to discuss regarding this invitation and how does the Philippines will get involved in this Board of Peace. But due to some commitments, they beg off for this interview, but fortunately, their consul Mark Lim has provided a material regarding this invitation of President Trump to the Philippines. And according to the material provided by Consul Lim, the Philippines has always stood for dialogue, cooperation, and constructive engagement in any effort that advances peace and adopts peace-building mechanisms to resolve international conflict. And the Department of Foreign Affairs is engaged in different peace-building processes, and together with other relevant institutions is looking forward to studying the proposal in line with deepening and complementing related international commitments. And further, the department is looking into the process to identify areas where they can meaningfully contribute, and how best to do so in line with the national interest and international commitment. So that's what the embassy through Consul Lim provided these statements regarding that. And also, Philippine Ambassador to the United States, Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez, said Trump, through the White House, has sent a personal letter addressed to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. inviting him to join the Board of Peace, or BOP. That's a U.S.-initiated multinational body aimed at advancing post-conflict solutions, specifically the Gaza reconstruction. So if you can see a photo that we are flashing right now, that's from the White House. Trump has signed the a memo or a resolution to establish that Board of Peace. So that's specifically involved in rebuilding Gaza and also or implementing peace process there in Gaza, that's in the midst of or that's amid the Israel, Gaza, or Hamas war there that happened 2 to 3 years ago, and I think that the conflict is still ongoing. So that what makes Trump establish the border peace, so that peace must be achieved in that particular area, particularly in the Gaza Strip, where the Hamas is located. So um, let's go back to the discussion on the Board of Peace, particularly this personal invitation of U.S. President Trump to the Philippines, as they course it through the White House and sent that invitation to President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Ambassador Romualdez said there is no specific deadline as to when Manila is expected to respond to that invitation, but said the country will probably be able to commit some time within the couple of next week. So this is more than 2 weeks or so. So they will commit on this invitation from the U.S. president. And Ambassador Romualdez clarified that the reported $1 billion US contribution is only for those seeking to be a permanent member of that board. So this is some kind of United Nations like organization, but this Board of Peace is focused on rebuilding peace in the Gaza or in the Gaza Strip, as that area is a hotbed for violence and violence and threats of terrorism committed by a armed group there. And the BOP, which was launched at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland on January 22, is being billed as a vital part of a U.S.-led peace plan to end conflict in Gaza and to restore peace and stability in the region, because that Gaza Strip has been involved or ravaged by the Israel-Hamas war, so that's why this Board of Peace has been established by President Trump. And the board is expected to provide strategic oversight and mobilize international resources during the transition in the enclave. So I heard the Board of Peace is not just focused on or developing and rebuilding Gaza, and also at the same time establishing peace in the area, but also this one eventually it will focus on resolving global conflicts. So eventually the board, if more than 100 nations join in this initiative or this group, so they will be, I think they will be tasked to resolve global conflicts so that they can build peace across the globe, and that I think that's competing with the United Nations role to in its peacekeeping roles across the world. So far, as far as Southeast Asian countries are concerned, Indonesia and Vietnam are currently the two only Southeast Asian states to join the said body. So we will wait and see. So if the Philippines can join, and can Philippines join on this one? But as far as this statement is concerned, the Philippines will only join, or will only offer some commitments, or they will offer operational matter, but they are studying on if they can join this one, because the amount of the amount that we're talking about here to join that Board of Peace to become permanent members of $1 billion, and that amount is no joke. So Philippines will carefully consider joining this one. But as a statement said, that they are willing to uh, offer services, and as well as the identify processes where they can meaningfully contribute to that board of peace. So we will watch out for this one. So if the Philippines can accept the invitation from President Trump. And also, since we're talking about the U.S. Philippines relations, so on the upcoming 80th anniversary of the Philippines United States diplomatic relations, so that milestone, which is the 80th anniversary, is something deeply positive and significant. So that's according still to the material that was sent to us by a consul Lim of the Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C., because the Philippines and the United States are unveiling a story that's an 8 decades of shared struggle, shared values, and shared aspirations. And that's from 1946 to 2026 and beyond. The Philippines and the United States remain bound not only by history but by a choice to stand together, work together, and move forward together. And the Philippines and the United States marked the beginning of the year-long celebration of their 8 decade-old relations with the launch of the 80th anniversary logo. So that celebration has been launched there yesterday. I think that was uh, present there in that celebration, or that event rather, is the himself, ambassador himself, of the Philippine ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez, and also the charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy, that's Robert Ewing. And envoy, or the Philippine envoy, said the logo symbolizes the 8 decades of partnership that has since grown from the area of post-war reconstruction to this day, to this day's modern strategic alliance centered on economic development and people-to-people exchanges, among others. So we're also showing a picture of the launching that took place yesterday in Pasay City. Because, and also Ambassador Romualdez said the logo should signal that the present U.S. Philippine partnership is strong and with future full of opportunity. And U.S. Embassy Charge d'Affaires Robert Ewing, for his part, said the Washington D.C. is proud of the accomplishments reached between the two nations in times of conflict, down to advancing economic growth and joining forces on health, education, and disaster response. And the formal relations between Manila and Washington were established on July 4th, 1946, with the 4th of July also celebrated as the annual Philippine American Friendship Day. So a bit of a trivia. This year, the United States will commemorate 250th year as an independent nation. This one, 80 years of diplomatic relations with between Philippines and the United States, and at the same time, 250 years of American independence. So those celebrations are something to look forward to. Uh, if we are talking about the U.S. Philippine relations, so it's a lot of activities and commemorations will take place there, as two countries will celebrate these important milestones. And also, since we're talking about partnerships between the Manila and Washington, and there's no expected major change in the deep defense partnerships between the Philippines and the United States, as the latter increases focus on the Western Hemisphere. That's according to Ambassador Babe Romualdez. The Pentagon, or the Defense Department, or U.S. Defense Department, released its new national defense strategy, establishing homeland defense and the Western Hemisphere as a priority. But uh, the end the envoy pointed out that aside from the United States, the Philippines is also working with other allies in the region to sustain peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. So, those allies, so Japan, Australia, South Korea, um, even Canada, is one. are our other allies, other than the United States. So the U.S. is um, uh, our partner since we've gained independence from them in 1946. So we will mention about the Mutual Defense Treaty that was signed in 1950s, and at the same time the Visiting Forces Agreement now that we are benefiting, and also the Visiting Forces Agreement that's military exchanges between U.S. military and Philippine military. So our defense treaty with the United States and the Philippines are stronger than ever. And on this occasion, the Charge d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy here in Manila, meanwhile, reaffirmed that the U.S. is committed to its obligation under the Mutual Defense Treaty, or MDT, and will remain a strong Philippine ally, especially as the relations between the two states enter 80th year this 2026. So we will have opportunity to have the Philippine embassy in Washington as well as the U.S. embassy. We will get them to get their stories, or to get their side, and also to deliver their commitment here. So they will. So we will try to get the Philippine embassy to ask them what's something to look forward to in these celebrations. So 80th year of formal diplomatic relations and the 250 years of the American independence. So we will try to get them the Philippine embassy as well as the U.S. embassy later this year. So that's July 4th. So we will have them here in the program. But in the meantime, Front and Center will be right back after these messages.
Sa isang bagong Pilipinas, hindi dapat makamba ang pamilyang Pilipino sa mga bayarin sa ospital. Kaya naman sa Zero Billing Policy, libre ang inyong paggamot sa lahat ng mga Department of Health hospitals. Mapa-inpatient, outpatient, o emergency services. Isama na rin ang mga mamahaling gamot, lab tests, therapy, at marami pang iba. Libre ang inyong paggamot. Ang pangangalaga sa kalusugan ng mamamayan ay ang ating pangunahing tungkulin, dahil ang serbisyong medikal ay karapatan at hindi dagdag pasanin.
Mas pinadali na ang government transactions sa tulong ng eGovPH Super App. Pwedeng-pwede mo nang magawa ang lahat ng ito. I-download ang eGov app sa iyong smartphone o tablet mula sa App Store o Google Play Store. Pagkatapos, ilagay ang iyong mobile number at i-authenticate gamit ang one-time PIN o OTP para marehistro ang iyong account. Saka ilagay ang iyong mga pangunahing impormasyon at kumpletuhin ang facial recognition technology para sa verifikasyon ng iyong pagkakakilanlan. Para sa mas mabilis at mas maayos na serbisyong panggobyerno, gamitin na ang eGovPH Super App.
And center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
All right, welcome back to Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And yesterday, there was a speech from the President, Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., because he emphasized the importance of faster and expanded internet connectivity as a key driver of national development, saying that digital access is now a necessity that empowers Filipinos to learn, work, and access essential services. As he spoke at the Philippine Telecommunications Summit 2026 at the Newport Dome in Pasay City, President Marcos reaffirmed his administration's commitment to commitment to ensuring that every Filipino, especially those in remote and far-flung areas, has access to reliable and affordable internet. The president noted that while the telecommunications sector has seen significant growth due to sustained investments in policy reforms, many rural and remote areas continue to face unstable signals and limited broadband access. He lamented that persistent delays in permits right of way restrictions, fiber cuts, and power interruptions further worsen connectivity issues. So, to address this gap, the government, through the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, is accelerating reforms to make internet services faster, more affordable, and more accessible. And that is through the Konektadong Pinoy Act. And President Marcos cited the continued rollout of 5G networks, expansion of fiber optic infrastructure, and growth of mobile broadband services, which he said have transformed how Filipinos access education, healthcare, and government services. And also by the third quarter of 2025, telecommunications provider are expected to deploy more than 1.8 billion cable devices nationwide, connecting millions of homes, schools, and businesses to opportunities previously beyond reach. That's what President Marcos said. But in the meantime, let's hear a part of the speech of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at that Philippine Telecommunications Summit. Okay. All right. Okay, so we don't have the clip right now, but President Marcos also stressed that the implementation of the Konektadong Pinoy Act removed barriers to entry in the telecommunications sector and promoted infrastructure sharing to reduce costs and improve efficiency. And he highlighted in that summit, or in that speech at the summit, of the three phases of the National Fiber Backbone Project, noting that the first phase provided internet connectivity to 360 government agencies. So that's a lot of government agencies that will benefit from this National Fiber Backbone Project. And that will benefit 10 million transacting members of the public, while the second and third phase or phases expanded access to an estimated 690 government agencies, rather, benefiting nearly 17 million transacting members of the public. So again, the first phase will serve 360 government agencies that will benefit 10 million, and as the second and third phases will roll out, so that will double the number of government agencies that will have access, and that will double the transactions that the public that will use. So that's 17 million transactions that is expected to have as these phases, second and third phases, roll out. And also, President Marcos also cited government initiatives, particularly the National Broadband Program and the Free Wi-Fi Access or Free Wi-Fi Internet Access Program, rather, which now operate thousands of public locations nationwide. And he said that improving digital connectivity supports inclusive growth, strengthens governance, and prepares Filipinos to compete in the digital economy. And that summit focuses on policy direction, strategic investments, and the deployment of key technologies, including fiber networks, 5G satellite systems, and data centers, to deliver reliable, affordable, and inclusive connectivity for communities, business, schools, and local government units. So, apart from this summit, I remember one time President Marcos has opened a data center in I think that's in Laguna Province. So that launching or inauguration of that data center will help the Philippines to establish a more reliable connectivity to the global community. So, and at the same time, this particular National Fiber Backbone Project, which is now on its first phase, and there's an upcoming second and third phases, so that will greatly benefit the Filipino people that accessing the internet or accessing the internet rather. And at the same time, it complements the National Broadband Program and free Wi-Fi access program. So this one will help establish our connectivity to the world, and also to make our lives easier by easily transacting services with the government, fast and easy. So that's through these initiatives and programs of the government. And also, that particular summit features discussions on major government initiatives such as the National Digital Connectivity Plan, the Konektadong Pinoy Law, alongside sessions on digital skills, employment opportunities, reporting systems, and strengthening the country's digital backbone. And we hope this internet connectivity rollout will continue, so that we will improve our internet connectivity in the global setting, because I think although we're not included among nations with fastest internet connection, but we do hope the government will implement and roll out programs to make our internet connection, and also improve our internet connectivity, so that we will improve our internet speed ranking globally. And let's jump here to the politics, or particularly this brief but high tension leadership crisis at the Senate, because this week the Philippine Senate has experienced that kind of leadership crisis, because there was a coup attempt that led by the minority bloc aimed to unseat Senate President Vicente Soto III and replace or install Senator Loren Legarda, making her the chamber's first female leader in the Philippine Senate history. So that will be the first time if should that Senate coup materialized. So, but this one it failed. So right now the presidency of the Senate remains under Tito Soto's leadership, and that plot ultimately collapsed on February 4. That's on a Wednesday, when the majority bloc said that it still trusts Senator Soto, leaving the leadership at the Senate intact. So there's no change at the Senate leadership. So the primary driver of that unrest was a leaked draft report from the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee chaired by Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. And that draft recommended filing corruption charges against several senators, including minority members, Senators Jingo Estrada, Joel Villanueva, and Cheese Escudero, which has been recently ousted by Soto in late 2025. So because those senators are felt they being targeted by the investigation into the multi-billion peso flood control scandal, the minority bloc began a maneuver to change the leadership to a more favorable one. So meaning to say they want a leadership that is more friendly to them, and at the same time they would avoid being targeted by the investigation. All right. Okay. So right now we will interrupt regular programming front and center on Radio Pilipinas World Service to give way to the speech of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. as he gave a speech in Makati City. Let's listen and watch.
Mula sa Presidential Communications Office at Radyo Pilipinas, ito ang Presidential Live Event. Presidential Live Event.
Hindi ko po matanggal sa mukha ko yung aking ngiti dahil matagal ko nang inaambisyon na gawin ito. Congratulations po sa inyo lahat. Batiin ko lang po ang ating mayor ng City of Makati, Mayor Nancy Binay. Siyempre, ang pinakamahalaga na nandito ngayon, lahat kayo na bagong sumpa, na promoted na mga teacher at school head ng DepEd. My fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen, sa magandang araw, napakagandang araw sa inyong lahat. Today is a very meaningful day, not only for our teachers but also for our entire country. As you take your oath today, you are renewing the promise that you have made to our children and to our nation. Because you carry a big responsibility every single day inside the classrooms and always extending way beyond school hours. Batid ko po ang bigat ng inyong tungkulin. Kung minsan, pag uwi ninyo sa gabi, imbis na magpahinga, nakatutok pa kayo sa paggawa ng lesson plan, pag-check ng mga papel at saka mga assignment. Kayo rin ang tumatayong pangalawang magulang para sa ating mga estudyante at gumagabay sa ating mga kabataan. At kapag kailangan ng bayan, kayo ang nagbabantay si presinto pa tuwing eleksyon at pag nagpupunta sa bawat bahay para sa mga census activities. And for that, this nation is grateful to you all. As your public servant, I believe that our fight to build a better government begins through education and through the people who mold the minds of our youth. Many of our country's problems today cannot be remedied by laws or by policies alone. They require discipline, they require honesty and compassion, values that, while first nurtured within the Filipino home, are further shaped and strengthened in our schools by you, our teachers. Sa bawat batang natuto ng tama at mali, sa bawat kaalaman na naibabahagi dito nagsisimula ang pagbabago. At kayo, ang ating mga guro, ang humuhubog nito. While the family is our first school, the classroom is where the values are put into practice in a larger context. Ladies and gentlemen, I have always known that teaching is not an easy profession. I am myself, in my family, surrounded by teachers. Ang lola ko po, siyang naging teacher pa ng tatay ko. Ang mother ko, primary school teacher. Ang first lady, professor din sa mga iba't ibang law school. And I know that it takes patience, sacrifice, and most of all, courage. Oftentimes, these principles are in short supply in the world we live today. But we see them alive and burning in the hearts of all our teachers. And the government duly recognizes your efforts. And that's why it has to be met with tangible support. And this is why this administration has prioritized education in the national budget, allocating more than 1.34 trillion pesos in the sector. That is the equivalent of 4% of our country's economy, higher than other countries who are also trying to develop their educational system. We have ensured that the 2025 Service Recognition Incentive for teachers and non-teaching staff was released, with an additional 7.3 billion pesos provided so that every eligible teacher receives this benefit in full. We have released as well 10,000 pesos for teaching allowance for school year 2025 to 26. We have published the guidelines on the grant of 7,000 pesos medical allowance in 2025. We are continuing the creation of additional teaching positions and the reduction of paperwork so that our teachers can focus on what they do best, teaching. And as I said in my third State of the Nation address, no public school teacher should retire as Teacher 1 anymore. We will expand our educators' career paths through strategic reclassification. By creating more high-level positions, we can have senior educators move up based on merit and open new entry positions to new graduates. Your promotion will be a doorway to a better life for you and your family. We hope to help you achieve greater financial stability and a much-deserved recognition for your very, very hard work. Beyond these benefits and changes, our commitment to creating a system that protects and empowers teachers remains steadfast. So as you take your oath today, whether as a teacher or as a school head, remember that every responsible citizen passed through your classroom and was shaped by your nurturing hands. Teach our youth not only lessons from the pages of a book, but lessons that shape lives, lessons of integrity, of responsibility, and for love of country. Many things in this life may change, but the lessons and values that you impart remain long after we are all gone. Mga minamahal kong mga guro, sa inyong mga kamay nakasalalay ang susunod na henerasyon ng Pilipino. On behalf of the Filipino people, thank you for choosing to build a nation with us through this noble profession. Congratulations to you all. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang ating mga guro. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Maraming salamat po, mahal na Pangulo.
And you just heard the speech of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. as he led the oath-taking ceremony of Department of Education National Capital Region teachers and school heads. That's in Makati City. So we will have a discussion regarding the Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment in the coming days, because this particular issue is still ongoing, and we will have more discussions with some political analysts and key persons involved in this impeachment case. We will have them next week or in some other weeks as this impeachment saga continues. And we now conclude this edition of Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our technical team headed by Mr. Milo Junella, on Warcast, Hiro Lucero, and as he supervises the audio streaming. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.